Hey, what is going on, guys? So today we're checking out the PlayArt Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake Reno. This was one of my most wanted PlayArt Kai figures, and it turned out amazing. So I hope you guys will enjoy the review. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, stay tuned, guys.
Take it slow.
Okay, so first up, let's take a look at the packaging. So on the front we have a nice photo of the figure itself. And we have the Final Fantasy VII Remake and PlayArt Kai logos. And as for the sides of the packaging, we have the logos once again, and it's the same on the other side. So on the back we have a couple of screenshots of the figure itself in various poses. And down here we have some credits on the making of the figure. And so as for the inside of the packaging, once again we have a nice photo of the figure itself. And down here we have a bit of text, so if you guys want to read this, then by all means feel free to pause and read. It's just a bit about the character. And right over here we have a nice window display to showcase the figure inside the box with all the accessories. Here's a look at the accessories that come with the figure. So as you guys can see, we have two interchangeable faceplates, which is really nice to see. We have the baton, we have a few pairs of interchangeable hands, and of course we have the figure itself. And right over here we have the display stand for the figure, and of course we have the packaging. And down here we have the instructions on how to assemble the faceplates. So yeah, that's a quick look at the accessories and the packaging. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the figure. Okay, so I thought I would give you guys a quick look at my entire PlayArt Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake and AC figures. So here's a look at my entire collection. And at the top we have the new remake figures. But yeah guys, I will have a review of every single figure here. So if you guys want to check it out, then it will be on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe and be sure to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these remake figure reviews. So yeah, with that being said, let's take a closer look at the PlayArt Kai Reno. Okay, so let's take a look at the figure and check out that head sculpt. This is actually the alternate head sculpt that comes with the figure, but this is my favorite one out of the three. So yeah, this is going to be the one that I will display on the figure. You know, it's just such a nice head sculpt. It shows off his personality perfectly. I'm just really happy that PlayArt Kai included this because, you know, we've never got a head sculpt quite like this from PlayArt Kai. So I'm just happy that they're experimenting on different facial expressions. I mean, it is pretty nicely made. It's a very crisp and clean sculpt, and you can see his eyes are painted a very bright blue, almost green, which looks really, really nice. You can see the eyebrows and the eyelashes painted in there. He's even got like the red scars or tattoos on his face, on the side of his face. I really don't know what they are exactly, but he's always had them on his face, which I think is a really cool, a really cool trait for this character. You can see his tongue, of course, sticking out. You can see his teeth in there. This has got to be like one of my favorite PlayArt Kai head sculpts that I've ever seen. And as I mentioned before, this was like my most wanted PlayArt Kai figure that I wanted them to make. So I'm just really happy to finally have this piece. Even the hair sculpting is really nicely done. You can see all the strands of hair sculpted in there. And of course we have the goggles on the top of his forehead. You cannot take them off. They're sculpted directly onto the figure. And so here's a look at the hand holding the baton, which goes all the way back here. And we have this real metal chain on the handle of the baton. And even the strap piece is made out of a soft piece of plastic, which is a pretty nice touch. So moving down here to the body piece of the figure, and we have the chest. So as you can see, he's got his shirt piece pretty opened up, exposing his chest. So now, one of the main issues with this figure was the fact that the skin tone is painted super tanned, which I don't really think he was just tanned in the game. So I don't really know why PlayArt Kai decided to paint the figure so tanned, but I still think it looks pretty good. It is a pretty nice paint job. So now, as for the rest of the figure, it is a very simple design. There's really not much going on here. He's basically just wearing a black suit, but we have all these pockets at the side here, which of course cannot open up. We have all these nice folds and creases sculpted onto the shirt piece. And so moving down here to the legs of the figure. Once again, not much going on. It's just these black trouser pieces. And of course we have the boots of the figure, which are kind of shiny. They give off a nice shine in the lights. So this is the side of the figure, and we have a nice profile of the face. I mean, look at the sculpting on the hairpiece. So nicely done. It's, you know, just so detailed. I'm super impressed with this figure. But anyhow, here's a look at the side of the face. And moving down here we have the shirt piece, his arm, all these nice creases and folds inside the clothing. You know, I wouldn't say it looks realistic. It's kind of got its own style. But you know, I just love what they've done here. This has got to be one of my favorites remake figures that they've currently made. And I'm really excited to see the rest of the figures that are yet to come. But anyhow, there's a look at the boots. And here's the other side of the figure. So once again, we have a nice profile of the face with his tongue sticking out. And he's even got this earring, which I never noticed before. So yeah, just, you know, super nice detailing. I just really appreciate the level of detail that Playarts Kai have added into this figure. And we have the ponytail at the back here, which goes all the way down, which is made out of a soft piece of plastic. Moving down here once again to the clothing of the figure itself, and we have the hands holding the baton, which is also made out of plastic. It would have been very nice if they made it out of metal, but I don't really think Playarts Kai make any of their weapons out of metal, but you know, just something to consider in the future. And once again, we have the legs and the boots. Okay, so this is the back of the figure, and we have a nice look at the sculpting of the hairpiece. I'm just so impressed with this head sculpt in particular. This may be my favorite head sculpt out of all the remake figures from Playarts Kai. And the back of the ponytail, which goes all the way down here. You can see all the strands of hair, so intricately sculpted in there. And of course we have the back of the suit piece, which once again, it is a very simple design. Really not much going on here. Okay, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to show off the original Playarts Reno, which they made a very long time ago. I mean, I would say this figure's probably like 15 years old. It's a very old figure. But yeah, I've had it for a very long time, and yeah, this is my last Playarts figure that I have in my entire collection. I sold off all the original Playarts figures, and this is the last one. So you know, it just kind of goes to show how much I love this figure. But here's a quick look at the packaging. I've actually never reviewed this figure before. So yeah, I thought today, you know, we could take a quick look at both of these figures, the original and the remake. Okay, so here's a comparison on both of the Reno figures made by Square Enix. So of course we have the original Playarts Reno, and of course the new remake Reno by Playarts Kai. Massive difference in height, which is probably the main thing. Quite a big difference in terms of sculpting and paint. I mean, they're just both completely different figures. I mean, seeing this figure now, it doesn't look as great as I remember. It looks pretty bad if I'm being honest. But you know, it's kind of funny how your perception of things can change over time. But you know, I still love this figure so much, and you know, I kept this figure for the longest time. But compared to the new remake Reno by Playarts Kai, I mean, there's no contest. This is a much better figure. Okay, so let's take a look at the head sculpts. And here's the original Reno. I mean, check out the paint job. It's super yellow. I do not remember the paint job being this yellow. Compared to the new remake Reno, you can see how the paint job is very fine. You know, it's very light, very tanned. But this one, I mean, what the hell happened here? This is super yellow. I'm not sure if maybe the figure, you know, maybe the paint faded over time. I really don't know, but I do not remember the figure looking this pale. It's super weird looking. So I mean, I'll probably make like a full comparison review on both these figures. So if you guys want to check it out, then it will be on the channel. But for this video, I just want to give you guys a quick look at the main differences on both of these figures. So yeah, I would say the head sculpt and the paint is definitely the main issue, the main difference between both of these figures. So here's the new remake Reno, which looks, you know, so much better. Probably like 100 times better than the original. You can also see like the body shape on the original is very stiff. He doesn't look quite right. It's a very awkward looking figure. And so here's the figures from the back. So I mean, the figures don't look that different from the back. They pretty much look the same, apart from the height difference. I would say the paint job on the hairpiece on the remake is probably a lot more brighter compared to the original. You can see the paint job is super dark. But as for the body piece, it looks very similar. Not much of a difference here. And here's the sides of the figure, so we have a nice comparison on the height difference. The original figure only comes up to like the torso piece of the remake figure. It's kind of insane how much of a height difference there really is. And just a super quick look at both of the batons. So here we have the baton from the original PlayArt Reno. It's a very simple design, and here we have the baton from the new remake. We even have some materia embedded into the handle piece. At least it looks to be some materia, I really don't know. But we even have this here strap on the new remake version, whereas the original doesn't have a strap at all. So yeah, that's a quick look at both of these figures. Hope this comparison helps. So this is how the figure looks with the interchangeable faceplates. So this is the angry expression, which I don't like this head sculpt as much as the head sculpt down here with the tongue outs. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite head sculpts out of the three by far. We also have this here standards neutral head sculpts, which is also pretty good. This one, yeah, I mean, I don't think I like this one at all. It just doesn't look quite right. I've also got to say it's pretty tricky switching out the faceplates. This is probably the trickiest figure to switch out the faceplates because the hairpiece comes off and the back of the head comes off as well. So it's a little bit tricky trying to take them all off at once. Okay, so let's take a look at the articulation for the figure. So I would say the figure's got pretty good articulation. There's really nothing in the way to restrict the articulation. So at the head sculpt we have a ball joint in there. At the back of this ponytail piece, it's made out of a soft piece of plastic, so you can kind of bend it like so. Now as for the shoulders, we have these ball hinge joints, and these are very nice joints, very fluid joints, very satisfying to move. Now at the elbows we have these double hinge joints. These are the newly developed double hinge joints for all of these PlayArt Kai remake figures, and so as you can see we have two hinge joints here, and they can bend all the way up like so. It's just an added bit of posability. Now as for the wrists, we have ball hinge joints in here. So inside the torso piece, I would say it's slightly restricted due to this here jacket piece, but as you can see, the jacket piece is made out of a soft piece of plastic, so it's not overly restrictive. As for the waist, we also have a ball joint in there, and as for the hips, we have these pretty loud ball ratchet joints. They're always very loud joints, as you guys can hear. So we have a swivel at the thigh. We have these double hinge joints at the knee, which once again can go all the way up like so. I don't know what it is about this Reno figure, but the joints are just so satisfying to move. As for the ankle piece, we have a ball hinge joint in there, and we also have a hinge joint at the toe. So yeah, overall, pretty good articulation for this figure. Okay, so that about covers it for the PlayArt Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake Reno. So guys, this is probably one of my favorite figures out of the entire PlayArt Kai remake line. So I would say definitely pick up this figure, you will not be disappointed. It's, just such a spot on figure, such a nice representation of the character and so nicely sculpted. So yeah, definitely pick him up. As I mentioned before, I will have a video on every single figure here, so if you guys want to check it out, then it will be on the channel. So don't forget to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope this review was helpful. Have a great day, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy, guys.